Hello students, I am VLN Swarupini, lecturer in biochemistry from Sri Venkateswara College of Arts and Science, which is affiliated to Adikavi Nannaya University, Rajahmundry. Now I would like to discuss about 6th semester biochemistry paper, that is basic microbiology. And this basic microbiology paper we are going to discuss about the topic bacteria. And in the previous class we have seen about the classifications of microorganisms, that is Whittaker 5 kingdom classification and also Carl Woese 3 domain system of classification. Now let's move on to the next topic, that is bacteria. Regarding bacteria, we should see general characteristics of bacteria. Okay, firstly we should see about the general characters. So we all know bacteria are prokaryotic and unicellular organisms. These are prokaryotic and unicellular organisms. Prokaryotic means here they lack nuclear membrane. They lack nuclear membrane. And unicellular, only single cell is present. Only single cell is present. And if you see about the history of this bacteria, we all know for the first time this was identified by Anton von Leeuwenhoek in the year 1676, and he called them, he named them as animalcules. So Anton von Leeuwenhoek, he for the first time observed these naked structures under microscope, and he named those invisible organisms which he observed under microscope as animalcules, which means small animals. Okay, so animalcules is nothing but small animals. And later, in the later part, scientist Ehrenberg, he named these animalcules as bacteria in the year 1838. So Ehrenberg, what he did, he named these animalcules as bacteria in the year 1838. And these show prokaryotic characters. We all know this bacteria shows prokaryotic characteristics, and these bacteria shows some characters which have resemblance with plants and few characters which have resemblance with animals. So now let's see the general characteristics of bacteria. And we all know these are omnipresent. Omnipresent means present in every form. Present in all forms. Okay. Simply saying omnipresent means present everywhere. Everywhere. These are present everywhere. Okay. And if you see about the nutrition, as said earlier, these bacteria are, few of the bacteria undergo heterotrophic mode of nutrition and few undergo autotrophic mode of nutrition. But autotrophic mode of nutrition is the major nutritional mode. And if you see autotrophic mode of nutrition, these autotrophs, they prepare their food, prepare their food, and here heterotrophs means they depend on others for their nutritional Yes, they depend on others for their nutritional advantages. Okay, so coming to autotrophs, here again autotrophs are of two types: chemoautotrophs and photoautotrophs. Chemoautotrophs, they uh, prepare their food in the presence of some chemical compounds. Okay, some chemical compounds. And photoautotrophs means they require sunlight, to prepare their food. And if you see these heterotrophs, as said earlier, they depend on others for their nutritional needs. And this parasite, this heterotroph is again two types: parasitic mode and saprophytic mode. Parasitic mode and saprophytic mode. Parasitic means they, of course, they depend on others for their nutritional needs, but here they infect the host cell, and there is no advantage for the host of this particular bacteria. If a bacteria is entering a person or entering an animal, and the animal is not being beneficiated from the presence of the particular bacteria, and this bacteria on the other hand, what it will do, it feeds and it uses the particular animal's metabolism to develop this particular bacteria. So here only the bacteria is getting benefited, and the animal or the host whatever is present, it is being infected with the bacteria. So this is the parasitic relationship between the bacteria and the host. And coming to saprophytic, these saprophytic means bacteria which feed on dead and decay material. Okay, so those are called as saprophytic. So these are the different kinds of nutritional modes that we see in bacteria. Okay, so let's see them in detail. So here heterotrophic mode of nutrition is they obtain their food directly from external source. This external source might be a plant, animal, or dead and decay material, or humans. It might be anything. The external source might be anything. Okay, and this heterotrophic mode is again of two types as said earlier. What is that? Saprophytic and parasitic. So here few blue-green algae, they undergo autotrophic mode of nutrition. Okay, so autotrophic mode of nutrition is only possible if that particular bacteria consists of chlorophyll. Okay, if that particular bacteria consists of chlorophyll only, this autotrophic mode of nutrition is possible. And here blue green algae which contain chlorophyll content, they undergo autotrophic mode of nutrition. And again these autotrophic bacteria, that means not just blue green algae, taking this autotrophic bacteria as a whole, these can be, few can be chemoautotrophs and few can be photoautotrophs. Here chemoautotrophs are bacteria which depend on chemical sources, and photoautotrophs are the bacteria which depend on the light source. Okay, light source. Okay, so based on these factors, bacteria undergo what? Its nutrition process. Okay, and this is how bacteria will be getting nutrition. And coming to parasitic bacteria which come under heterotrophic mode, these parasitic bacteria, they depend on other living beings for food. Okay, of course heterotrophic mode of nutrition is nothing but uh, depending on other living beings for food, but here the host is not being benefited by the presence of bacteria. So that is the major concept in the parasitic mode of nutrition. And coming to saprophytic mode, this particular bacteria, they depend on dead animals or sometimes decay or waste material, decay or waste material. Okay, so this is how bacteria will be benefited. Okay, and coming to autotrophic mode, here we have seen two types. What is it? Chemoautotrophs and photoautotrophs. Okay, basically autotrophs means they synthesize their own food. Okay, they synthesize their own food, but few bacteria, they require chemical compounds like sulfur, hydrogen and etc. for their food preparation. That means we all know autotrophic mode of nutrition is done in different kinds of plants and also in few chlorophyll containing bacteria. So how this process is carried? Photosynthesis is carried under sunlight. That means this chlorophyll uses UV rays for the chemical reaction. So whatever the chemical reaction, there whatever the glucose is converted into starch, so there the food material is produced, and here the reaction requires light source for its activity. In the same manner, during this for this chemoautotrophs, they require some chemical compounds as substrate. Okay, so for any chemical reaction there will be a enzyme and substrate. Finally one product will be formed. So in the same manner, here this chemical compound being the substrate for the production of the food material in chemoautotrophs. Okay, and some autotrophs, what they do, they'll have chlorophyll in their body and they utilize sunlight and finally prepare their food. We call them as photoautotrophs. And these bacteria are symbiotic in nature. They are symbiotic. These are symbiotic in nature. That means they depend on other living organisms for their nutrition. And if this bacteria is also gives any benefits in return, that is a symbiotic mode of nutrition. That means if a bacteria is infecting any plant or animal, and in return, that means if a bacteria is infecting means, or bacteria is entering a host cell, it might be a plant cell or animal cell, that means for the benefit of its nutrition it will enter that organism. But there, if it shows any benefits to the host cell, then we call that mode of nutrition as symbiotic nutrition. Okay, so here both the host cell and also the bacteria both will be benefited. So this is the mutual benefit, and this we call it as symbiotic mode of nutrition. Okay, and if we see best example for this uh, symbiotic mode of nutrition is presence of E. coli. So we all know E. coli is present in our intestine. So this E. coli, it feeds on the material which is not useful for our body. Okay, and in the return, what is the benefit for us? What is the waste material present in our body which is not able to excrete in any form, that, and if it is present in for prolonged time, what happens? It causes infections in our stomach, but this E. coli is feeding on that waste material and protecting us from the infections. Okay, so this is a very best symbiotic nutrition or symbiotic association that we see in our nature. And also in our body, lactic acid bacteria. Okay, lactic acid bacteria is also present in the gut. Gut means near the throat. So this is also helpful for the elimination of, or it will stop the entry of harmful bacteria in our body. Okay, so these are the common symbiotic associations we see regularly. So this is about the nutrition of bacteria. Here we have seen autotrophic, heterotrophic, and also additionally we have seen symbiotic association. Okay. Now let's see about the shape of the bacteria. And here these bacteria are in different shapes. Okay, we can observe bacteria in different shapes. Here importantly we see cocci, bacilli, vibrio, spiral. So majorly we have these four kinds of shapes in bacteria. Okay, cocci means nothing but round shaped bacteria. Round shaped bacteria. If you see this is a cocci. If it is in a single form, we call it as cocci, and if it is in double form, that means like this, we call it as diplococci, and if it is three, triplococci, tetracocci. So in that manner we'll call, and if it is in a chain form, we call it as staphylococcus. Okay, staphylococcus. If it is in a whatever the cocci bacteria, these are arranged in a chain form, we call it as staphylococci. And next one is bacilli. Bacilli is nothing but the rod shaped bacteria. So if you see this is a rod shaped bacteria. Okay, and this is also monobacillus, diplobacillus, tetrabacillus in this form. These bacilli bacteria are also arranged. And the next one is vibrio. These are comma shaped bacteria. And the next one is spirella. That means if the bacteria structure is in helical or spiral form. If it is in a helical or spiral form, we call it as spiral shape. So these are the major bacterial shapes that we see in nature. Okay. So now let's see about the occurrence and habitat of these bacteria. Occurrence and habitat of this bacteria. So we all know bacteria are omnipresent. Omnipresent, that means we can see these bacteria everywhere. Everywhere. Okay. And that means in all natural forms, that means in air, we can see bacteria in air, in water, in soil, and in all forms of the nature we can see these bacteria. That's why we call bacteria as omnipresent. We can see in all habitats, in every type of habitat. If we see aquatic condition, again aquatic condition means we'll have saline water, that means oceans, and fresh water like rivers, ponds and all. So in every form of this aquatic habitat we can observe different kinds of bacteria. And in the same manner in air also we can see bacteria. And if we see weather, that means temperature variation will be there in different regions. Okay, if we take southern part of India, it is mostly under temperate region, that means temperatures will be little high. If we move to the northward or top of the India, that is like Jammu and Kashmir or some Himalayan region places, their temperatures will be low. So there will be bacteria which suitable for the colder climates and for the temperate climates. Okay, so bacteria which can tolerate that climatic conditions will be present in that area. Okay, so in this manner in every habitat we can see these bacteria. That's why we call them as omnipresent. Okay, and these are widely distributed and they can withstand great extreme conditions like high temperatures, acidic conditions, saline conditions or minus degree temperatures. Okay, that means they are even present in the saline conditions. That means if we see coastal areas, at that area the soil is very saline in nature. Okay, salinity in that soil is high. At that places also we find few bacteria which are suitable, which can adapt that particular habitat. And if we take few soils where uh, that particular soil is contaminated with any industrial waste or any other municipal waste where acidic conditions are present, and few bacteria which can withstand that acidic condition are seen in that areas. And at high temperatures, high temperatures means if you take hot springs, these hot springs also contain few bacteria, thermophilus bacteria will be present. And like snow or very low temperature present habitat is also seen with few kinds of bacteria. Okay, and coming to aquatic forms, as I said earlier, we can see bacteria in fresh water like rivers, ponds, reservoirs and lakes, and in saline water also like seas and ocean also we can find different kinds of bacteria. And here the cell wall of bacteria, okay, bacterial cell wall, it is very rigid, okay, it is very rigid, and it is mostly made up of amino acid subunits and polysaccharide subunits, okay, amino acid subunits and polysaccharide subunits. And here cellulose characteristics of this cell wall is similar to the higher plants, okay. Okay, cellular characteristic of the cell wall which is seen in the higher plants is absent in bacteria. And here polysaccharides, like different kinds of polysaccharides based on the bacteria, these are helpful as important constituent of the cell wall, and also few amino acids, okay. These form a association like carbohydrates and amino acids, okay. Like we call them as some kinds of glucose aminoglycans, okay. These kind of compounds are helpful in the development of this bacterial cell wall. And if you see about the bacteria, they contain chlorophyll pigments, okay, they contain chlorophyll pigments also, okay. Bacteria have chlorophyll pigments, few bacteria. And if you see about the structure or the cellular organization of the bacteria, this particular bacteria doesn't contain plastids, that means plastids are absent. And this bacterial cytoplasm, they doesn't contain endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies, ribosomes, mitochondria and vacuoles, etc. So these are not seen as the these cell organelles were absent in the cytoplasm, okay. And we all know bacteria are motile, okay. And this motility of bacteria is due to the presence of flagella. Bacteria are motile in condition, and it is due to the flagella, and flagella is developed by protein called flagellin, protein called flagellin. Okay, flagellate protein is a major base for the flagella in bacteria. And here we can differentiate bacteria based on staining, okay, we can differentiate bacteria based on staining. So when we go for gram staining, when we do gram staining for bacteria, what happens is few bacteria they show blue color, and we consider this bacteria as gram positive bacteria. That means few bacteria, when we do gram staining, then they show blue color formation, blue color formation, and that bacteria is called as gram positive bacteria. And few bacteria, they show red and pink color shades, and we call them as positive bacteria, gram positive bacteria. So see here, gram positive bacteria, which color it is? Positive bacteria. This is in blue color, this is in blue color. And gram negative bacteria, if we see, this is in pink shade. This is in pink color. Okay, so this is how bacteria are differentiated. So if we consider this gram staining, bacteria which show blue color during gram staining, these are considered as gram positive, and bacteria which are in pink color during gram staining, these are called as gram negative bacteria. Okay, and after this we can differentiate bacteria based on presence or absence of bacteria. Okay, that means some bacteria they require presence of oxygen. That means they require oxygen for their survival. Whereas few bacteria, even there is no presence of oxygen also, they can live without any problem. So here some bacteria can withstand absence of oxygen, and some bacteria they can live in the presence of oxygen. So bacteria which are living in the absence of oxygen are called anaerobic bacteria, whereas the bacteria which are living in the presence of oxygen are called as aerobic. Okay, anaerobic means absence of oxygen, aerobic means presence of oxygen. Okay, and these bacteria also contain small appendages called pili. Okay, and these are made up of proteins like pillin and fimbrillin. Pillin and fimbrillin. Basically, these are helpful for the conjugation process. For the conjugation, it is a mode of reproduction. It is a mode of reproduction, and this conjugation is carried through this pili, and we can call it as sex pili also. And this pili will connect the two cells during the conjugation process. And also bacteria produce endospores under unfavorable conditions. They produce endospores under unfavorable conditions. They produce endospores, and during favorable conditions what happens? These whatever the endospore is formed, this endospore will be converted into bacteria whenever that endospore uh, gets favorable conditions. Okay, during the unfavorable conditions bacteria forms endospores, and when favorable conditions are there, these endospores are converted into bacteria. Okay, these are the general characteristics of bacteria. uh, in the next class we'll see about reproduction in bacteria. Okay, reproduction in bacteria. So this is for now. Thank you students. Please write the notes by seeing this class. If you have any doubts, please contact me. Thank you students.